What is up, bros? Me, Josh here. Today's video is all about the new version of the Asashio. Now, this ship is still currently work in progress and still could be changed. It recently just was changed to its current version, and there's only one main change that happened to this, and that's with the torpedoes. So I'm not going to dive into kind of everything, a full review on this. I'll put a link down below to the original review. It's just one thing that we're going to dive over today is the torpedo change, which was deep water torpedoes. I don't like that start. What is up, bros? Me, Josh here. In today's video, we are diving over the newest version of the Asashio. Just keep in mind that this thing is still currently work in progress and could change before it is officially released. Now, I'm not going to dive into the entire review of this ship since I've already done that. I'll put a link down below to my Asashio review. One thing we're going to go over today, the main thing we're going to go over today, is the deep water torps that were just added. Now, this ship used to be basically a carbon copy of a Kagero. There were some differences. You had a little bit of a slower reload, but longer range on your guns. Other than that, it was very, very, very similar. This is a completely different ship. You're going to play it completely different. You're going to go for different ships. And what you do have now is 20-kilometer deep water torps, the longest deep water torps in the game that can only hit battleships and CVs, which is pretty unique. We've only, if you've been playing Pan Asian DDs, you know that they can hit everything but cruisers. These can only hit battleships and CVs. We saw this on a version of the Graf Spey, or the Graf Zeppelin, sorry, which was the German aircraft carrier that is still whatever it is, and it could only drop on CVs and battleships. Couldn't drop on cruisers or destroyers, which are just like these deep water torps. But these torps are insane, absolutely insane. 20-kilometer torps, 67 knots, so they are extremely fast, all at 20 kilometers, which the only ship in the game that has 20 kilometers is the Shimakaze. So you are the longest torps besides one tier 10. You have torp reload, you have a relatively fast reload being a Kagero, and on top of that, they have some of the lowest detection in this game at 0.7 kilometers. The Kagero, which is basically its cousin or whatever you want to call it, is at 1.7 kilometers for detection on torps. So not only are your torps extremely fast for its tier, extremely long range for any tier, they're extremely low detection, so the reaction time you have as a battleship, which are the slowest moving ships in the game, is almost nothing. So if you are going to get relatively close, even at long range, you're going to hit a battleship. It's completely disgusting. The Pan Asian DD lines, which also have deep water torps, they're right around 0.8 kilometers, so you're even stealthier than a lot of those. So this ship is absolutely disgustingly fun and a total meme. This is the new meme lord of World of Warships. So if you enjoy the meme life in World of Warships, the Asashio might be the new ship for you. One thing we didn't show in this game was the what I ended up changing my captain to. Since they are 20-kilometer torps, I found that I was doing most of my damage within 16 kilometers and closer. So what I did was switch out my captain from I added torp acceleration, which added 5 kilometers or 5 knots of speed, and took away 4 kilometers. So instead of 20-kilometer torps with 67 knots, I had 16-kilometer torps with 72 knots that can hit battleships and CVs. So something else that has, if you've ever played it, that has 72 knot torps is called the Zao, and if you are ever in range of the Zao, you are going to get torped by it. These things are so fast. You can actually chase down battleships, which is something you don't normally have the ability to do. But with 72 knots and let's say a battleship going 30, you can chase them down over like a 16-kilometer range. It's pretty disgusting. And this is going to be the quick life of a Miyoko charging forward and shooting AP against a angling Charles. So goodbye, Miyoko. You had a good run, and we'll just wait for the battleship salvo since you're sailing perfectly broadside from the Iowa or the NorCal. There's the salvo. And back to port he goes. He did try his best, though, and hopefully he learns how to play his ship come tier 8. We'll see what he can do. But anyways, this thing is such a meme. Now, okay, so there is some downside of this ship. One, is it fun to play? Absolutely. It's completely disgusting. Two, you really up tier pretty good. You are tier 8. You're one of the stealthiest ships. I think the only other ship that's going to detect you at this tier is another Kagero. So even if you up tier to tier 10, you're fine, because I mean, nothing. It's not like another ship out detects you, so it makes it worse. The Yugimo tier 9 is pretty close to the detection, but still, this thing up tiers pretty solidly. We were kind of making a joke of what would be the dirtiest division with this thing, and we kind of joked about having like 2 of these with a low yang, 2 of these with a kid, you know, 1 of these with you know, an Asashio, a kid for AA, and then let's say like a Chappie or something like that, where you can smoke both of them up. This thing is insanely strong for what it does, and it's basically a battleship. So there's a good and a bad to this ship. One, it's fun to play and it's unique, and there's nothing really like it, and it's strong. 2, it's gonna make you play like a terrible destroyer. You're gonna get completely away from the fundamentals of what you're supposed to do as a DD, and the fact that you're not really going to contest caps because you can't do damage. Most of the things that go near caps are destroyers and cruisers, so you have no interest in that. You have no interest in doing that. You're going to be hunting battleships, maybe even a CV. And so it's going to get you away from kind of the fundamentals. Now, one of the good sides about this ship is it still is a Kagero. Since you can only do damage to battleships with your torpedoes, you can't do anything else. You still hit pretty hard. I was ripping other destroyers with a 9-second reload, which is kind of long, but still, I was doing a decent amount of damage of like 2, 3, 4K salvos against DDs. So the damage is still there, and I think I even do a decent amount of damage against one of the ships in this game with my guns. But this ship is addictingly fun to play. Why? Because it's so unique, and we kind of joked about, I didn't get one in this, but if you do run the 20-kilometer torps, you have the ability to actually dev strike a CV without even aiming for it, because on some of the lower maps, you know, since you are tier 8, you can get down to one of the tier 6 maps, and the lower tier maps are a bit smaller. You can actually dev strike a CV if you get lucky, and maybe it's sitting broadside or moving broadside, without 1, the CV even knowing, and 2, you even knowing the CV is there. If you ever played the old school Shimakaze torps, you would randomly just get torpedo hits and forget that you launched torps because the range was so long. So right now we're going to use our this Iowa keeps juking. You must have vigilance or something like that, but he keeps juking our torps. And we're going to start working towards this Miyoko and get some damage in, and we'll see what we can do. I think we get the Iowa on this though. So still, even with IJN torps, we can still gun. It's not the worst thing in the world, but you know, they still have good alpha damage if you've ever played IGN. So we are losing this game pretty good. I'm getting on the top. I just enjoy playing this ship because it's so troll. If you're close to a battleship, they're screwed. There's nothing they can do. So this is going to be the bane of battleship players. And the best is when you can maybe get around and start just funneling them into like an area like these guys were this game. They all kind of chilled at C cap, and if you can get there, you will just absolutely destroy them. Absolutely destroy them. So we get 1 kill right there on the Iowa. He goes down. We get another hit on the Duke of York. And right now, we're kind of losing this game. As you can see near C cap, they're kind of bunched up there. It's all their battleships. So when you load into a game like this, you're going to say, okay, I can do damage to 5 of these ships. Yes, you can do damage with torpedo or with your guns, of course. But when you're kind of thinking about it, you're like, okay, which ship's going to hit with torps? So there were a couple of games. One, the downside of the ship is when you play against, let's say, a CV. You know, CVs are always tough for torpedo destroyers, especially. But and I guess a lot of destroyer games. So basically, whenever you want the best matchmaking is as many battleships as possible. It's the more battleships, the better. I was seeing about an average of 5 a game 4, maybe, which I think this one only had. Yeah, this one had 5. And I was still able to pump out a lot of damage. So, you know, just kind of, we want more battleships because everything else just kind of makes your life harder. Although I did notice that the detection, the speed of these torps are so good that even if they were kind of, and as you can see, we have 4 ships on our team going to chase 1 Charles Martel into the corner. And so the Charles, I think, ends up taking out like 2 or 3 of them. But we'll just let them go, and our division will hold down and try to win this game. So everybody else but our division is going towards 1 ship, and my division is going to hopefully try and take down this whole team. So that's the life of some games, I guess. But really, the torps are so fast, and again, I think it was literally after this game I switched up torpedo reload, and it was even dirtier. This was the highest damage game we had for the first day of this ship. But even if the torps are spotted, one, they're deep water torps, so it may not even seem like it, but the actual indication of the torpedo, the actual little square, is much smaller, so it's even harder to see. But still, I was still getting torpedo hits. I just kind of got lazy with this because I felt like it didn't really matter because of how fast they were. 72 knots is extremely fast. That those battleships take such a long time to turn, especially at 10 kilometers, that I knew that Duke of York was dead. There's no way he can. I mean, I'm gonna send out 8 torps, or what is it? It's yeah, it's 2 sets of 4, and I'm gonna send out 8 torps, and I know he's gonna take at least 1 because he can only turn so fast. Even if the torps were spotted, I was still getting torp hits. Which seemed absolutely disgusting. So I'm gonna drop the smoke for our cooties off and keep running in. Now, again, I don't know if this ship will be kind of how it is. I really don't. I don't know if they will leave it how it is. This is still work in progress, so it's changed. As Charles just takes down the second of 4 ships, but we'll see if those guys end up doing it. As we said right there, boom, down goes the Duke. He tried to avoid him, but he couldn't. There's literally nothing he could have done. Other Duke of York here, and I'm going to push to try to spot this DD. So, really just playing kind of a good overall ship. The Duke is chilling right there, and I'm spotted. I didn't think he'd push, and actually our Kutuzov ended up getting the torpedo hit on him. So, stole one of our kills, but nothing you can do. But this is where you're going to just absolutely excel. Within 10 kilometers, sometimes within 10 kilometers, good luck avoiding torps that are going 72. Like, that's so fast. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Now remember, that is with torp acceleration, so you have to give up something to get that speed. But full life Duke York, nothing he can do. And boom, dev strike, 660,000 damage just off the top. Nothing he could have done. So if they give you an inch, you can take a mile, 100%. So Ganai is now also going to be pushing in. Our torpedoes is going to start pushing in as well. And really, we're in a pretty good spot. But I can only really do reliable damage to one ship, and that's the Ganais now. So I'm gonna try to focus that. I told our torpedoes to kind of focus the cruisers, like that Ibuki, and actually our Kutuzov got murdered by that Ibuki. But I mean, I can do gun damage. Like if something's relatively low, like I could probably maybe not that Ibuki. It'd probably hurt doing that with, especially with the Ganai there. But I mean, you can do a decent amount of damage, like a 5k, a couple salvos, something like that. You do have a 9-second reload, so it's not the fastest in the world, but it is still doable. What about damage? Especially against destroyers. So, you know, worst case scenario, you're still a Kagero gun-wise, so you can still do pretty well. You know, just going destroyer versus destroyer. You're going to get the first salvo because you have the lowest detection. And again, right here, my torps are spotted. They just got spotted by that plane, but with where you are and the speed of them, these are still the 67 knots. There's nothing this Ganais now can do. Absolutely nothing he can do. So if you get within 10, you're probably going to get at least one torpedo out of, you know, out of your set of 8. At least one. I think I end up getting 1 or 2. Yeah, we end up getting one for 15k. So our torpedoes is able to kind of finish him off. And then I'm just going to smoke and start working down this Fiji with some guns. So already he's flooding 166k, 166k. He just repped, but we know this Fiji's going to stay spotted. Perfect aim by me. Good job, me. And missed the first salvo at 6k. Our Ganai takes him down with, or our torpedo takes him down at torps, and the Fiji is going to get spotted in just a second. So 167k in this thing. Now again, this is still work in progress, so they could change it. The reason, what they ended up changing it right here was they ended up adding it 20-kilometer deep water torps, which are blast. They only hit, and I was trying to get a little extra meme with this thing and try to Citadel the Fiji. It didn't end up working, but we got a little bit of extra damage. But I was hoping to get like a quad sit right there. But yeah, this thing is just the king of all memes now. It does so much damage. It's so stealthy, but again, it is going to make you play destroyers like you are not supposed to play destroyers, but you'll have fun doing it. So I guess there's a give and take there on how you're gonna look at this ship. All in all, this thing is absolutely nutty. It'll be interesting to see if they put this out. I think they'll probably drop the torp speed down a little bit. It just seems like this is, if you're gonna, battleships are in trouble if this thing comes out like this. You're gonna have a hell of a time dealing with dealing with this destroyer if they know what they're doing. So anyways, guys, the new version of Asashio, still work in progress, and just wanted to show you the new version. So again, I'll put the link down below to the entire review if you want to check it out there. And this is just the newest version. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.